Hey guys, what's up? My name is Arbuckle. Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to share with you guys some awesome tips and tricks for dominating with shotguns in Fortnite Battle Royale. It's very important that you master the shotguns in the game if you want to up your game and get better and improve and get more wins. So hopefully by the end of this video I've been able to share with you guys some tips that you can take, practice, put to good use, and hopefully up your game. So without further ado, let's jump right into some of these tips. So the first tip that I have for you guys is to always have the right shoulder advantage when peeking walls. Now this might be very difficult to understand, but what I mean is, let's say that you have a wall, you're on one side and there's an enemy on the other. You want to have that right hand advantage. You want to be on the right shoulder, the right side of that wall, so that you can peek and just jump out and shoot really quick, right? Like when you aim down sights, your guns are going to be on the right side of your screen there, so you always want to be on the right side of the wall when you're coming out to shoot someone. That's why a lot of times when you get in those gunfights, maybe you're peeking a door and you have to go to the left to shoot, they're going to get a shot off before you get in range, before your gun is actually able to shoot back. So you always want to have that right shoulder advantage so that you can get the first shot off, or at least have an even shot with the enemy. You don't want to put yourself at a disadvantage by having to show your entire body before getting a shot off. So always make sure to have that right shoulder advantage when you're peeking walls, and you should be able to get more shotgun kills. The second tip that I have for you guys is to always try to connect with the upper body. This one is a very simple one. So many people kind of get caught up in the craziness of a shotgun battle, and they're just kind of spraying and praying and not really, they're just trying to connect somewhere. And the idea is, try to aim for the head. With a shotgun, most of the time you're gonna hit if you aim in the right direction, right? Like you're shooting shotgun shells. It's not like you're shooting a laser beam. So always try to aim for upper body. Seems kind of obvious. Just when you're playing, try not to just kind of look around. Make sure you're on a good sensitivity so that you're not shooting at the ground or shooting above them. But always aim for the head. You're gonna get a lot more kills if you get those upper body shots, because you're gonna do like 8 damage with a pump if you hit somebody in the legs nowadays. So always aim for upper body. Try to connect with the upper body shots. The third tip that I have for you guys is to make sure that your ADS sensitivity isn't too high. That kind of goes with what I was just saying. If your ADS sensitivity is too high, when you aim down sight, you're going to be looking around like crazy. If you're playing on like 10 sensitivity right now, and then you change your ADS sensitivity to 10 as well, alongside your X and Y, it's going to be very difficult to hit shots because you're going to be looking around like crazy. So make sure that your ADS sensitivity isn't too high or isn't too low. You don't want to be in a situation where you get your shot lined up like decent, and then you go to aim down sight, and then your sensitivity is like way too slow to keep up, or way too fast to keep on track. So play around with your ADS sensitivity, get used to it, and find a sweet spot for yourself. The next tip that I have for you guys is to know what shotgun to use in certain situations. A lot of people don't really understand this. If you're new to the game, I completely understand, but if you've been playing for a while, you should kind of have an idea of what shotguns to use in certain situations. The pumps are always going to be the way to go. If you haven't figured out the way to use the pump now, it's very important that you practice using that. That is definitely the best shotgun, I personally believe. I think that the heavy shotguns are very good as well, and a lot of times I'll take them, especially the gold one. But the pumps are so crucial, especially the blue ones. Nowadays, I don't really take a pump unless it is blue. I've started really enjoying using like a blue tack over a green pump, but it's really personal preference, and you got to get used to what's going to happen in certain situations. Now, I can't sit here and tell you exactly what gun you need to use when, but I feel like that's something obvious. If you play the game, you'll eventually get used to doing certain things with certain shotguns. You'll know, if there's a certain point in the game what gun you want to take. A lot of times, if I know there's a whole lot of people near me, I'm probably going to take a tack shotgun so that I can shoot a lot. If I know that maybe it's just a one-on-one, I'm going to take that pump and aim for the head so that I can get that one shot, try to take that guy out quickly. This kind of leads into my next tip, which is to always use like a tack shotgun or a tack SMG to back up the pump. And that's another kind of thing that just goes around in your head that you should just kind of think about when playing the game. I used to be a huge fan of using a pump shotgun followed by a tack shotgun. For the last couple of weeks and even like a month or two by now, I've been following it with an SMG. I'm a huge fan of using a blue or a green pump and then whipping out in a purple or blue SMG and finishing off the guy that I'm shooting at. That's actually one way to. I know a lot of you guys kind of don't like using the pump because you don't like shooting one shot and then having to wait like that extra second, and if you miss, you're pretty much screwed. So if you have that pump, it doesn't matter where you hit your enemy as long as you try to connect while aiming down sight. sight so you can do somewhat damage to them. If you whip out that SMG, you should be able to finish them off pretty easily. And like I said, you can follow it with attack shotgun. You don't have to use attack SMG. It works really either way. But if you're going to run around with a pump, I really do think it's important to have something to back it up with. I don't think it's smart to only use a pump shotgun, because if you end up missing, you're pretty much screwed unless that other player sucks and then you connect with the head. So I highly recommend always having something to back up that shotgun. But again, guys, it just depends on the situation that you're in. Like I said, I can't sit here and tell you exactly what shotgun you need to use when someone's in a certain position. That's kind of just something that you learn while playing the game. So practice using the shotguns, figure out which ones you like better in certain situations, and you'll do better overall. The next tip that I have for you is to catch enemies mid-sprint/run. This kind of goes with the first tip that I gave about always using the right shoulder advantage when peeking walls. What I mean by catching enemies mid-sprint, so let's say I'm like, someone starts shooting at me and I throw up a wall real quick to hide behind, and I put up a ramp and I act like I'm healing or I act like I'm hiding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to peek that wall, and as soon as the enemy gets close enough and they're in mid-sprint, they're running towards me, I'm going to pop out and shoot them. This happens all the time when people are like maybe 15 meters behind me. They start shooting me in the back. I turn around, I start building really quickly. I'll build a wall and a ramp, and then I'll kind of just hide there and I'll peek. And that's generally when they start to push me. And as soon as they push, as soon as they get in that sprint position to where their gun's not up and ready to shoot, I'll pop out and hit them with a pump or attack or whatever it is that I'm using. And that always gets you that advantage. If you pop out and shoot and go back behind the wall, they're not going to be able to get a shot off, and they're going to have less damage, therefore making it easier for you to win the gunfight. So always try to catch your enemies in mid-run or mid-sprint. Don't try to attack them when they're sitting still aiming down sights, because they're going to be ready. All they have to do is pull the trigger. So try to catch them during movement. It'll make it a lot easier for you, and you should get more kills. The next tip that I have for you is probably the most important one. This is extremely crucial. And that's to create height advantage when you're in shotgun fights. It is so, and I mean so much easier to get kills with shotguns when you have height advantage, because you're putting yourself in a position to make headshots so much easier. You think about when your player is just running and jumping around, it's very difficult to try to hit somebody in the head unless you're like a professional at the game. You've been playing for a long time. But if you create height advantage and someone's below you, it's almost impossible to not hit someone in the head when you're standing above them. So, and it makes it more difficult for them to get a headshot because they end up shooting at your feet. So it's so important to try to create that height advantage, even if you're low on health. I don't know if I'm showing you guys some of the clips, but a lot of times recently I've been hit with shotguns and shotgun battles, and I'll have not a lot of health, and I'll just start building right in front of me and kind of just running around and trying to juke out the enemy so I can get behind him and get off that one shot. But it's always important to try to keep that height advantage. A lot of people are going to try to push you and try to push you out of the height advantage, and if they do that, they know what they're doing. They're probably good. But the goal is always to keep it. So if someone starts pushing up, push up higher. Try to get as high as you can without risking falling to your death. But it's very difficult to win a shotgun fight from down low if the enemy that you're going up against knows what they're doing. So again, guys, create height advantage and try to keep it. The next tip that I have for you is something that every single one of you needs, and I know that for a fact because I need it myself. Don't panic and start shooting like crazy. I know this is easy to say, much easier said than done, but we all do this when we get in those crazy shotgun battles from point blank. Everybody starts freaking out. It gets so tense. You're so caught up in the game. Everybody's jumping around and just shooting and really getting involved, and you have to relax. You have to breathe. You have to chill out. I try to tell my friends this all the time. You know, if I tell my buddy, I'm like, dude, he's one shot. A lot of times I'm like, he's one shot. Just chill. Make sure you hit the one shot. So many times what happens is, you know, they start jumping around and trying to avoid, and they end up missing 3 or 4 shots, and that other guy is connecting over and over again. Eventually, you're going to be in the position that he's in. So if someone says like, hey, he's one shot, even if it's just a 1v1, take your time. If you know they're low on health and it's only going to take you one shot to kill them, relax. You don't have to do all the crazy jumping. Try to avoid getting hit in the face, because if they get a headshot, obviously they're going to kill you. But try to chill, try to relax a little bit. It only takes one shot, or whatever the situation you're in, right? Like if you're in a situation where you both have full health, yeah, you want to jump around, but you want to chill. I would recommend just jumping around and going crazy while you're waiting for your shotgun to kind of reload or to cock itself, and then kind of chill out, take the shot, and then start going berserk again. Again, I know it's much easier said than done, but try to relax, try to breathe, try to keep under control when getting in those crazy shotgun battles so that you can stay alive and have a much better chance of hitting your shots. The last tip that I have for you guys is to always aim down sights for more damage. One of the biggest problems, everyone is always complaining about hitting people for like 7 or 10 with a pump shotgun. It's because you're not aiming down sights. If you're jumping around, it doesn't matter how close you are to the person that you're shooting. If you're if you're hip firing them with a pump shotgun and you're hitting them below the chest, you're going to hit them for 7 damage every single time. If you aim down sights, however, you're going to do a lot more damage and keep yourself under control. You're not going to rage as much because you're actually going to hit people for a lot. So always aim down sights, especially with the pump shotgun. Do not hip fire with the pump unless you absolutely have to. You're not going to do any damage, and trust me, it's much better to aim down sight when you're jumping around and shooting that pump shotgun. So anyway, guys, that's for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy some of these tips. If you guys have anything else to add alongside the tips that I just gave, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Again, I hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next video.